If you follow this channel, you know that we move a lot, and I'm talking a lot. We've lived 12 different places in the last 10 years, and many of those places we've done smart home tours for you here on the channel. Now, partly we move because we like to explore, and the other part is just because we're completely insane. Now this apartment, we've made it for 9 months, and that's like a record for us. And 9 months ago, I did a smart home tour of this apartment. I had only given myself 7 days to get all my smart home tech and home security tech ready to present to you in that tour, and that was intense. I don't know if I ever want to do that again. That was quite the undertaking. But here we are 9 months later, and I've added a lot of stuff. And I've been getting a lot of requests from you out there asking for an update. In fact, we put a poll on the channel, and a lot of you were ready to go. Now, I wanted to wait a year or so, but you asked, I listened. Here we go. What up, everybody? George Langabeer here. Today, we're doing a smart home tour of this apartment. It's going to be all the smart home tech and home security tech that I've added in the last 9 months since we moved in. If you've watched before, you're going to see some repeats, but there's also a lot of new stuff, which is exciting, so stay tuned. If you're new here, welcome. I appreciate you joining us. We've done quite a few of these. Look at our smart home tour playlist if you're interested. Now, this apartment building was an old abandoned power plant here in Omaha, Nebraska, and a company called New Style Development took it and refurbished it and changed it into apartments. They do that with a lot of old buildings down here, and it's very cool, and we've lived in a lot of their properties and very much enjoy them as property managers. Now, I'm going to take you room by room and show you all the tech. Let's get started with the foyer. Before we get started, I just want to tell you that I'm running this smart home on Apple Home, formerly known as Apple HomeKit. What is that, you might ask? That's Apple's smart home platform. Apple Home app is built into your iPad, your iPhone, your Mac. It's just a place to control your smart home devices in one spot. So you can see here I've got my cameras, all my different devices, all my different rooms. This is my wall-mounted iPad that I love using it this way, but again, I can also use it on my phone and my tablet. So starting outside the front door, you can see that I've got the Aqara U200 smart lock. That's my go-to smart lock. I test a lot of them, but I always seem to go back to that one. I love it for a few different reasons. Number one, I don't have to replace the outside hardware, and since I live in an apartment, that's great for my maintenance crew. But I also love that it has Apple HomeKey, so I can use my watch, my phone, and also my fingerprint. Now, I know a lot of people love HomeKey for the watch and the phone, but sometimes I find it quicker to just do my thumbprint. But it's great to have options. Then I've got the Aqara G4 video doorbell out there that's compatible with Apple Home and Apple HomeKit Secure Video, which is Apple's home security platform. Now, I've done videos where I was done with HomeKit Secure Video, and it's still against my will. So Apple, please, please, I'm begging you, give us 2K, give us 4K, give us some more features. 2025 has got to be the year. But I'm back to it just because it's so convenient to have my cameras on my iPad. Coming back inside, we've got a few different things here. On my door, I've got an Ecobee door sensor, and I've also got an Aqara door sensor. The Ecobee sensors goes with my Ecobee premium thermostat. This is a great smart thermostat, my go-to. I did a video on the Google thermostat for a while, used that for a while, but I always seem to go back to Ecobee. I like their room sensors. You're going to see a lot of those throughout the apartment. but it's just a great way to take the average temperature of your entire place and save money. Now, I like the Ecobee sensors because not only can you use them as a security system, but on your windows, which I'll show you, when the window opens, it'll actually turn off your AC to save you money, and I like that. So I've got both. I know that's a little redundant, but the Ecobee I use mostly for the windows and what I just said, but Aqara also, you can use that as an alarm system, and I've got all Aqara cameras in here right now, so that's what I'm using as my key security system. But it's just nice to get alerts anytime the door is open. You can actually sound an alarm and all that good stuff, just like a normal security system. Then, of course, like I said, I've got my wall-mounted iPad here, just a great way to control my smart home. And then, like I just said, I've got the Ecobee thermostat. And of course, as a smart thermostat, you can control this from all your devices as well. But this is the best of the best right here. All right, moving on to the living room. Like I said, all my home security needs right now are being met by Aqara. So that's my indoor pan tilt camera from Aqara. It's also an Aqara hub, and it's compatible with Apple's HomeKit Secure Video, so I can see it on my wall-mounted iPad and all my other devices that way. I can also use it with the Aqara app. Right below that, I have my brand new robot vacuum from Roborock. It's the new Saros 10R. I love that robot vacuum. I'm replacing the Dreamy X40 Ultra, which was an awesome robot vacuum. I thought I was going to regret replacing it, but I don't, because that one's freaking amazing. I'm debating on whether or not to do a video on that vacuum. Let me know in the comments if you'd really like one, but I just hate doing robot vacuum videos. They're just a pain in the butt. But if you want one, I'll do it for you, no problem. All right, when it comes to Apple Home or Apple HomeKit, you need to have an Apple Hub, and you can use that with a HomePod, whether it's the HomePod Mini or the full-size HomePod or an Apple TV. I'm using all the above. Now, with the latest iOS firmware updates, you can pick which Apple Home Hub you're using. So even though you've got several of them like I do, you can narrow it down to which one works best for you. I am personally using an Apple TV 4K, which is in this entertainment center. I could also use one of these HomePods because they're just the most centrally located in this apartment. But I got the stereo pair HomePods. I'll show you in a moment that I actually had a bunch of Sonos in here. If you follow my journey, you know that I'm a madman when it comes to HomePods versus Sonos. I actually have the new Arc Ultra under my bed, but I found that my Sonos system was overpowering this apartment a little bit as far as my neighbors go. So I had to go back to the HomePod stereo pair. Now they still sound amazing, don't get me wrong, but it is what it is. So underneath here, I have some Philips Hue lights. Just so you know, all the lights in this apartment, everything overhead, which are like the permanent fixtures, is Lutron. And then everything that added, like lamps and decorative lights and that kind of stuff, is Philips Hue. Those are the two most reliable brands in my eyes. And so that's what I'm going with, Lutron and Philips Hue for all my lighting. So I have some Philips Hue lights, just adding some accents in this entertainment center. Then I also have a Philips Hue light bar underneath this entertainment center. Now this is also an electric fireplace. So I find the combination of all those lights to be very cool. Now, I'm a big fan of LG's OLEDs. This is the G4. This is the 75-inch. I've got these pretty much in every room, but I love LG's OLEDs. And then if you step to the other side of the entertainment center, I have a Govee air purifier. Now this particular one is not Apple Home compatible, but I still love Govee products, and it's a great air purifier. And you don't really need it to be Apple Home compatible with an air purifier because you kind of just set it and leave it. All right, moving on to this side of the living room, which is pretty basic. Like I said, all the lighting in here is either Lutron or Philips Hue. So these spotlights above me are controlled by a Lutron switch over by the front door, which is smart and compatible with Apple Home. And then I got these Philips Hue lamps on both sides where Teresa and I sit to watch TV. This is Teresa's spot, this is my spot. And then I've got Anker chargers everywhere. You'll see those throughout the apartment. I love Anker chargers. I got that power strip there. It's got USB ports on the side. I can use that to set up devices or security cameras. So I love using that. Then I've got portable chargers for my iPads and my Mac. And then I got a 3-in-1 charger for my phone, my watch, and my AirPods, conveniently located next to where I sit. Then on these windows, I've got Aqara sensors and Ecobee sensors. The Aqara sensors I'm using for my security. The Ecobee sensors I'm using with my climate control, because as soon as those windows open, it'll turn off my air conditioner to save me money. And I've got those on all these different windows. Then on another side note in this apartment in general, and I've said this in other tours, we are huge art lovers in this family. And most of the art you'll see in this apartment is original, either from my father, who had an art gallery in New York, who is a very talented painter. I actually have one of his pieces on my arm, which we'll talk about in a moment. Teresa's also a talented painter, and Delaney's also very talented. Somehow I missed the gene. But most of the art in here is original, except for this Beatles piece. Now, for those of you that don't know, I'm the owner of Silverhammer Surveillance. The name Silverhammer came from the Beatles song, Maxwell's Silverhammer. It's not one of the more uplifting songs. It's actually a pretty disturbing song. So I thought this art matched the personality of that song and kind of represented the history of Silverhammer Surveillance. Now, before we go to the other side of the apartment, I do want to mention this bathroom right in between the foyer and the living room. There's only a couple different things in there. Number one, we've got some Lutron automatic lights. So as soon as we walk in there, it senses us and turns that light on. And then we've got some Simple Human stuff in there. I got Simple Human products everywhere. You know, the smart home's not all about, you know, using your voice assistant and stuff. Sometimes it's about convenience, and Simple Human makes very convenient stuff. And then I got another cool art piece. That one is from my father. It's the story of Don Quixote. If you don't know that story, look it up. It's a pretty cool story. But you'll see in some of my dad's artwork, I think some drugs in the 60s maybe involved. I don't know. Some of it's pretty psychedelic, but I freaking love it. All right, next up, let's talk about my little studio space. In our last apartment, I had a dedicated room for my studio. Here, I just get my little corner. It is what it is. So we've got the F25 Ace Combo from Roborock. This goes with my robot vacuum. This is a wet dry vac and a hand vac. I really love these vacuums so far. I've got my workstation. I've got the Magnus desk from Secret Lab. This is a sit-stand desk. To go along with that, I got the Secret Lab Titan chair. And over here, I've got my Beats Studio Pro and the latest generation's AirPods Max. I like both of them for different reasons. I got Philips Hue lamps on both sides of the desk, and I've got these LG Thunderbolt compatible monitors. These are 5K monitors. They go great with my MacBook Pro. This is the newest 16-inch. I got this sucker fully loaded. I've got a iPad Pro here, 13-inch, latest generation. And then I've got this Shure mic over here, which I got for podcasting and whatever it may be. Now, a funny story about that, I was lucky enough to be the guest on Eric Wielander's live stream. My boy Eric Wielander, shout out to him. And also the Technical Difficulties podcast, which is a great podcast you should check out. They've had a bunch of creators on there, and I just absolutely love the creator collaboration that's been going on. Very exciting, and I hope to do more of it. But anyway, I got this Shure mic to be part of those two podcasts because I filmed them on the same day, and I ordered it on Amazon, and it was supposed to be here the day before, and of course it showed up late when I needed it, and it actually showed up when I was doing Eric Wielander's live stream, right in the middle of it. So too late for that, but oh well, I've got it for future collaborations, which I hope there are many, many more. And then up there, I've got my fuse sign. That is the name of this floor plan. Again, this is an old abandoned power plant. So all the different floor plans in here are kind of power plant themed. And I made that smart with a Philips Hue smart plug, which is hidden in my Secret Lab desk. All right, moving around the corner here, over there, we've got a Philips Hue floor lamp. It matches these desk lamps that you see in the living room, the studio. You'll also see them in my bedroom. I love that lamp. I love the look at it and the way it hits off the brick. We've got a Black & Decker wine fridge, which keeps our wine the perfect temperature. I've got an Anker charger here. This is a little bit more of a hardcore Anker charger that I take out of my TERRACE and charge all my portable devices out there. We'll talk about the TERRACE in a moment. I've got a Philips Hue light bar behind this beverage station, which is, again, I love the look of it on the brick. We've got a smart Keurig. This is the Wi-Fi version. You can do different functions through the Keurig app with this thing. So that's pretty cool. We've got the iSpring countertop reverse osmosis water filter. You know, I'm a stage 4 cancer survivor. I think part of the reason I'm kicking cancer's ass is now in my life, you know, I never drank water before. And since my diagnosis, I just flood myself with water. And I think it's so important. And I really think this thing is part of the reason I'm kicking cancer's ass, because I drink water all day long. And I love this thing. Talking about art, this is one of my dad's. This is my favorite from him. This is the one that I've got on my arm. My tattoo artist did a great job matching this. Again, drugs in the 60s is all I can say to explain this, but it's the tortoise and the hare. That's what he called it. It's the hippies versus the police, but I just love, love, love this piece, and I'm so happy to have it here in this apartment. All right, then down a few feet, we got this bad boy right here. This is very special to me. for many different reasons. I've talked about this before, but this stoplight was actually used in the Detroit rail yards. It used to be green, faded from the sun. My aunt had it in her yard on a pole. I thought it was so cool because she actually had it working back then. We're talking in the 80s. So I inherited it from her. I painted it black and I made it smart with Philips Hue bulbs. So I've got this running on different automations and things, and I love that. My aunt, who I love to death as is, but she's also a cancer survivor for many years, over 10 years, just a badass woman. So it's very special to me that I have this in my apartment as well. And then the stand was welded for us by Theresa's brother, who we lost to a very rare form of cancer. So all very special to me. And then I combine the two. So right here, man, right here. But yes, made smart by Philips Hue. All right, next up, we've got my terrace. And I'm not gonna go out there because it's crazy windy in Omaha today, but I do have some smart devices out there. And when it's nice out, Theresa and I live out on this terrace. We love it. But I've got the G5 camera from Aqara. This is the Wi-Fi model. I just did a review on the security camera. I freaking love it. But I've got one shining on my terrace door and then the rest of the terrace and out into the skyline. Then I've got some Govee string lights on my railing. Now these are not native to Apple Home, so if I want to change the colors or the effects, I do that through the Govee app. However, I did use a Philips Hue smart plug to get them into Apple Home so I can at least power them on and off. And then I have some automations for sunrise and sunset through Apple Home, also using that smart plug. Then I've got my Silvox 55-inch TV. When it's nice out, this is where Theresa and I watch TV. Now, this is the 55-inch TV, and it is smart through Google TV, but I still have an Apple TV 4K hooked up to it to keep it in Apple Home. And then I use some Beats Pill speakers for my audio, or we use AirPods Max if it's really noisy, depends on how we feel. But the Beats Pill, the new version, man, they sound good. I almost think they sound better than HomePods, which is crazy. But again, we use one of those audio options, and then the Apple TV for the smart features. Now, I'm very excited because they've got a new 75-inch model coming, and I've pre-ordered that. It's coming early April, so it didn't make the tour. But these are the full sun models, so it does not matter what the sun is doing. The glare does not affect you, and you can watch TV, and they're also very weatherproof. So even if it was as nasty as it is today with the wind, or as nasty as it has been here in the winter, I could still be out there watching if I could stand it. So these Silvox TVs, they're the greatest outdoor TVs you can buy. All right, well, we're still talking about the terrace. Let's go back to the security cameras for a moment. I've got the Aqara G5 for my security, but I've also got a couple Reolink cameras out here, and one looking at the skyline and one looking at the river, because I love to use their time-lapse feature. You can go in and change it, whether it's sunrise or sunset or clouds. They've got all sorts of different options. You can do a custom time-lapse. Reolink just has this perfected. So whether it's storms or the sunrise or sunset, I've just captured some amazing footage on these Reolink cameras. You know, a foggy morning, snowstorms, whatever it may be. Now, excitingly, the Aqara G5 has the time-lapse option, but Aqara just hasn't quite perfected it yet. It's not quite as custom. You create a schedule, you just don't have the same options that Reolink does. But knowing Aqara, and they hear this, they might add it, because Aqara listens to us, and let's hope they do, because with the firmware update, maybe they can change that a little bit. But again, I've got these Reolink cameras out there, and I love those as well. Moving on to the kitchen, and I've said this before, I can't get as crazy in this room as I'd like to because I don't own this apartment, so I don't have a smart fridge or a smart oven or all that business, but I still got some smart stuff going on in here. I got the Vego smart composter. Now, I did a video on this, and it's not doing very well, and I wish it would, because I freaking love this thing. It's probably the most used smart device we have in this apartment, because I'm a neat freak and a germaphobe, and I hate food scraps. And so we've got what's called the Vego mode on this thing. It just goes throughout the day, and all you have to do is open the lid and dump in your scraps, and it's just wonderful, because you don't have the smell of the trash, all that nasty stuff, not to mention you're saving the earth. We use this on our indoor plants. You know, we don't have a garden, we don't have a yard, so you'd think, what are you using it for? Indoor plants, outdoor plants. If you did have a garden, you could use it out there. Just great for composting, but it's also great to just throw the compost away instead of the original food scraps, because you don't have the nasty smell. I love the Vego. Revolution Smart Toaster. I've talked about this before. You've got your different modes, you've got your different breads, you can change it. You've got fresh, frozen, or reheat, your different brown levels, and you've also got a gluten-free option. This doesn't have an app, but it's still pretty smart given the touchscreen and the different features you got here. Then we've got some Philips Hue bulbs in these island lights. We've got the spotlights up above controlled with a Lutron switch over there. We've got another LG OLED. This is the C4. And we've got an Apple TV 4K that we use with this. We've got our HomePod, which helps run the smart home. And I'm a whole home audio guy. I work from home. I listen to music nonstop. I love having a HomePod in every room. I've got another iPad there, and that's an iPad 13-inch. That's an iPad Air, excuse me. I've got one of my Ecobee sensors there that you can see. But again, it's just another way to control my smart home on that iPad. And then I've got simple human stuff all over, you know, soap dispensers, paper towel dispensers, that kind of thing. Again, not as crazy in the kitchen as I'd like, but it's something. Oh, and I almost forgot, above the cabinets, I got some Philips Hue light bars up there. So I've got some automations going with all the Philips Hue lights in here. So at night, it looks pretty cool. All right, moving on to the bedroom. You walk in, you've got the Lutron switch controlling the spotlights above me. You've got my Schwinn IC4 bike. That's my exercise bike. I've also got my Cannondale over there, which I use in the summer. It might not look like it because I'm a big guy, but I'd be an even bigger guy if I wasn't addicted to cycling. I ride that Cannondale 16 miles a day, but in the winter and when it's not nice out, I ride that Schwinn, and I use Apple Fitness Plus on my iPad. Sharika Holman, one of my favorite people on the planet. She's a trainer on there, and man, she's helped me kick cancer's ass, just saying. Then you walk in, you've got my LG OLED. Again, that's the G4. It's a 65-inch. And of course, I just activated the assistant on there. I've got the Apple TV 4K that I use with that TV. I've got a Govee tower fan. I cannot sleep without a fan running. That is compatible with Apple Home, that particular model. I've got nomadic bags everywhere for travel, and I love them to begin with. And then they got in a relationship with Mr. McKinnon, who's another badass creator out there. Check him out. Photographer, does lots of cool stuff. But once he started working with them, I loved them even more. And I've got their bags everywhere. Over here, I've got my ORBI 970 series router. I should have mentioned this before. I'm running my entire smart home on that mesh system. This is just one of the satellites. The main router is my entertainment center that you couldn't see in the living room. Now, it's a $2,300 router. I did a video on that, but I will tell you, I've had that since it came out, and that's telling you something, because normally I'm switching routers all the time. I find it to be worth the cost. Just saying. I've got an 11-inch iPad Pro. I had the 13-inch in there. This one I just like the size of it. It's a little more portable just for iMessage and stuff like that. But anyway, I've got both. So I do a lot of work stuff on the 13-inch, personal life on the 11-inch. I've got some more of the Philips Hue lamps, some more Anker chargers, my HomePod for the bedroom, and then I've got a Govee air purifier over there. And again, that one's not Apple Home compatible, but it's just an air purifier. So I really don't need it to be. Now, we're about to move into my closet, and I talk about this in other videos, my shoe collection and my obsession with Nike. I was an Adidas guy for a long time. I saw the Nike Air movie, changed my life. I just identify with the Nike CEO and their story. And then I just sold $50,000 worth of Adidas and switched to Nike. So you can see the start of my shoe collection in the bedroom. That's mainly Jordans there. But then moving on to my closet, I do have a Lutron motion switch in there. That's pretty much the only smart thing in my closet. But you can also see my shoe collection, which has just gotten out of control. Now, I don't know, I switched to Nike maybe 2 years ago, and I'm at like 200 pairs of Nike shoes now, but it's just crazy. So my closet's all about Nike and a Lutron switch. All right, I'm gonna stand right here while I talk about my bathroom because I don't wanna walk in there and trip the Lutron switch because it'll turn on my light and my fan, it'll be too noisy. But in there, I've got that switch, which is an automatic switch, turns on my light and my fan, as I just said. Then I've got an LG LCD in there, 27-inch, with an Apple TV 4K, with a HomePod above it. I've got a Quip smart toothbrush, and damn it, I don't care what you say, a toothbrush can be part of your smart home. I've got some simple human dispensers. Then I've got my 12 South Apple watch band display for my watch band collection. Then you can see my Beats Pill speakers in here charging. They're what I take out on the terrace, which I mentioned earlier. And then I've also got a Eufy Smart Scale, which incorporates in with Apple Health using the Eufy app. So that's pretty cool. All right, so on the other side of the apartment, Teresa, my wife, has her own wing. Now she's got her office, she's got her closet, and she's got her bathroom. Now, as far as bathrooms are concerned, and I've said this on many a tour, I cannot wrap my brain around couples that share one. No way, not gonna happen, not in this household. And thank goodness my lovely wife agrees with me. Now, right outside her bathroom is a really loud blower, so I'm gonna stand right here while we do her part of the tour, and because it's just way too loud. But I'm gonna show you some B-roll, so let's get started with her office. All right, as we walk in, we've got a Lutron switch that controls the spotlights above. We've got these awesome nanoleaf display boxes. Now, I wanted to use these for my Jordans as part of my shoe collection, but my OCD got the best of me and I can't handle the fact that they're white instead of black. So Teresa got them instead for her shoes and they look pretty awesome. She's got an LG OLED in here. This is a C4. She's got a HomePod. Again, we've got HomePods in every room. Apple TV 4K for that TV. She's also got the Magnus desk from Secret Lab and a miniature version of the Secret Lab Titan chair. She's also got one of our ORBI satellites in here. She has some Beats Studio Pro and some AirPods Max. She has both. We usually use the Beats Studio Pro for general music and travel because they fold up so well, but we often listen to movies on AirPods Max, especially out on our terrace when it's just too noisy to use the Beats pills. We've got an HP Smart Printer with AirPrint. We've got some Philips Hue bulbs in these lamps that are on her display shelves. Then down below, we've got the Yale Smart Safe, and we can use this with Apple Home. We can use our lovely voice assistant to open the safe and lock the safe. And then we've got the SwitchBot fan. This is a portable battery fan. Now this is awesome, but again, my OCD is so insane, I can't handle that it's white. And all SwitchBot products seem to be white. Come on, SwitchBot, give us some options. But I really love this fan out on the terrace when it's really hot out. We put it right in the middle of us and let it oscillate. It's great. Moving on to her closet, pretty much all we got going on here is a Lutron motion light switch. So again, it's a sensor. You walk in, the light turns on. After predetermined time, the light turns off. To finish off the tour, we've got her bathroom, and in here, we've just got another full-size HomePod and another Lutron motion switch. And there we go. So what'd you think? I'd love to know in the comments. Please share your thoughts. I think we've added quite a bit in the 9 months we've lived here. I want to thank the people that suggested us doing this update. I really appreciate it. I was going to wait a full year, but you asked, I listened, and here we are. If you're new to these tours, thank you very much for being here. I encourage you to check out our Smart Home Tour playlist because we've done quite a few of these from quite a few different places because like I said, we move a lot. I'm going to try to put as many of these items in the description as affiliate links if you're interested in purchasing anything, so check that out. But again, I appreciate your support very much. Thank you all for being here. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and until the next video, peace and love, my friends.